We'll now call this meeting to order. Thank everybody for being here tonight. If you would at this time, please silence your mobile devices. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Lee Ellis if he would lead us in invocation. Okay.
Let's pray together. Dear Lord, thank you for this day, God. Thank you for our community that we live in. Thank you, Lord, for being so good to us. We are humbled and honored we're in your presence. We're thankful for your mercy and your grace, Lord. Help us to make decisions that are in the best interest of our citizens. Help us, Lord, to see the good in other people. Help me to recognize my own faults, Lord, and lead this meeting in a way that you would find pleasing to you. I ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, buddy. Dale, if you would lead us in the pledge.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, you can make yourself aware of the ethics awareness and conflict of interest. If any commissioner has a conflict of interest, please let it be known now. If none, we'll move on. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda tonight?
Yes. Chairman, I would like to ask that we remove section 9C from the agenda.
Okay. Are there any more changes?
I have a need for a closed session for, closed session topic to the agenda for North Carolina General Statute 413.318.11A, section 3. And in that board meeting, I would like Mr. Eggers, Ms. Shuffler, Mr. Cook, Ms. McKinney, and the board be present. And I put that in the form of a motion.
Yeah, I think that's already listed on.
It's a different topic.
Okay, different topic. Okay, we have two changes to the agenda tonight with those two changes. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Yeah. Has everyone had a chance to look at minutes for September 2nd, regular session, September 10th, special session, and September 2nd and September 10th closed session? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Thank you, Harley. All in favor? And we'll now move on to reports and presentations. At this time, going to recognize the North Carolina Building Inspectors Association. And Alan, I'll let you lead into that.
So thank you. So we have a gentleman here to speak on behalf of one of our Mitchell County owned. Had a young man that's worked for us here that's been recognized by the state, and you can just go ahead and take that on. We've got a plaque up here we want to give Mr. Dylan Phillips here.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Board, for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. My name is Jason Rogers, and I am the Area 1 Director for the North Carolina Building Inspectors Association. And I'm here tonight. Recently, at the 2025 North Carolina Building Inspectors Association Annual Conference in July, Dylan Phillips was presented with the Building Inspector of the Year award. This is an award given to an individual within an association who has distinguished themselves through their dedication and professionalism, standing out as a role model within the organization. The award is the NCBIA's second highest award and is given to the individuals who over the last year have strived to maintain the highest standard of excellence as a North Carolina building official. NCBIA is dedicated to education, integrity, and professionalism of inspectors throughout the state. Dylan, come up here. Don't sit there. Don't let me talk good about it. All right. Over the last year, Dylan has accomplished a lot of things. The three things mentioned here, the education, the professionalism, and integrity, is very important to us. Dylan completed in essentially 12, 13 months his level 1 certifications. He's not allowed to even test for that for 6 months after he was hired. To accomplish this task in 7 months is unheard of. I've only heard of this happening like 3 times in my 27 years as a building inspector, and I've been teaching it since 2002. It is an unbelievable accomplishment to go through an education process at that level. It is grueling, way harder than contractor exams. I cannot express to you how difficult it is to have people like me write a test and you have to come into this industry and pass it at that level. We ask the most obscure questions of building inspectors. It is a true accomplishment if that was the only thing. But we also know that through the devastation of Helene, all of us in Western North Carolina, I represent 28 counties, we all took kind of a brunt of this, and especially as government bodies, we took a brunt of it. But Mitchell County became a focus of a lot of things. And the building inspector that ended up on TV just so happened to be Dylan. And I know, y'all laugh about it, but now let me tell you, as a seasoned inspector, I sat there watching it on TV, just breathtaking at how professional he was and how well he answered the questions and how he really done what needed to be done and what us as NCBI see as a professional building inspector. Even though he's so young in the business, it was such a grand thing to watch and really brought our attention to Dylan during that time. And then you start finding out what Dylan done during the floods to help his community. The devastation that we all had at home, but his magnified even more than that. And it goes to the pure integrity of who you are to still stand strong and do your job and serve your citizenry through these devastations and all this hard work. And I just couldn't be more proud than to have my district get the building inspector of the year and somebody like Dylan Phillips get it. It's monumental. And I wanted to come here tonight just to make sure that this commission knows that and that the citizens of Mitchell County understand what a true treasure he is to have. So if I could get the award, I'd sure like to present it to you again, Dylan. I really appreciate you, brother. And I know you'll do great things in the future. So in order to get this award, you first had to be the district. This is the district Inspector of the Year award. Now, I will tell y'all that I kind of had to lie to him, get him to come get his award. I didn't, it's okay. It's all right, Dylan, you forgive me. And so that's this award, but once you get that, then the NCBI Board of Directors vote on who gets the Inspector of the Year, and it was undeniable that Dylan was the guy. So Dylan, I really thank you a whole bunch, and your dedication is unbelievable. So let's look up here at this lady and give a big smile. Commissioners, I truly cannot express to you what a treasure it is to have someone so dedicated. I struggle daily to find inspectors like that, and it is truly a great thing to be able to give us a road to do. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Bill, you want to come on up, this is a picture with the board, too. And, yeah, and he brings mom and dad up into this group, too. I think they got a big crowd. Yeah, usually we get them right up in the front and then we're in the back.
You guys stand on.
Mama does a good job, right?
Mom and dad, fine, but.
Thank you.
Bill,
There.
congratulations.
Thank you.
A very high honor and prestige honor. Very proud of you. And, like you said, at a young age, that, you have worked this hard to represent Mitchell County. I think this board is very proud of what you've accomplished. I mean, this is top in the state. And, you did it at, certainly not at the best of times. You know, in the midst of the storm. So congratulations. Anything you would like to say, or I know you're a quiet fellow.
Just thank you.
Well, thank you, sir, for your dedication, your hard work. Very proud of you. Next on reports and presentations, emergency management, Mr. Andrew Brewer.
Good evening. Enough about that guy, geez Louise. My path crosses Dylan daily, and I'm telling you, you won't find a more professional gentleman to work with. My name's Andrew, you guys know me. We decided to have a departmental report, kind of a year out from Helene. I served as the county's emergency management director and the fire marshal. Infamously so on the EM side of life, and I put together a report for you guys, kind of just show you where we've been in the last year since Helene, what we've accomplished and where we're sitting at. So just a little bit about the packet, a little bit before you'll get a mission statement. There's one we made and decided that was going to be our attitude going forward. Then you'll get some staff info, and those people are sitting in the back of the room. You got John Masters as our deputy director, our law enforcement liaison, and a Mitchell County floodplain coordinator. Okay, you've got Brian Brewer beside him, who runs as the fire coordinator for the entire county, with 7 fire departments, as well as the deputy fire marshal for enforcement. Then Kelly Jones back there, who amongst her many hats with the TDA and everything else, manages to be our PIO, run our public interface and our social media campaigns, and keeps us running. So that's my team back there. The packet that's before you is their work, not mine. Don't ever confuse that. I don't want you to think it was anything I did. I'm just a mouthpiece for them, all right? So we go through that. It's pretty straightforward. I know it looks like a lot, but it's really not. It starts out with community involvement as well as trainings we've conducted, which means trainings that we have put on or been a part of administering to anywhere from fire departments to businesses in the county, to schools. We have an active fire safety campaign. October's National Fire Safety Month. Brian heads that up through his previous role in the county, and the fire marshal's office is always involved with that. So it being Fire Safety Month, that's a big thing we've got going on right now. And that list is kind of self-explanatory. When we started this, when I stepped into this position, I thought the best thing we could do was start at the ground up. We wanted to know everything we had. What we didn't have, our office was washed out. The old emergency manager director's office was washed out. We didn't know truly what we had and what we didn't, and what was serviceable. So we started from the ground up with a full inventory while trying to maintain a state of preparedness and readiness. So this is just what we've done in a year as far as training we've administered. Like I said, on the one page there, you'll see our department objectives that we met. I'll go over some of those highlights with you. We wanted to complete a full revision of the Mitchell County Emergency Operation Plan. We have done that. It was pretty painstaking, and we've involved every department head who that affects in those alterations. It's not finalized. It would be on your desk. You have to look at it, and it has to be sent back off. But just to make sure that everything works like it should, because we figured out we got punched in the mouth about a year ago, and we didn't want to do that no more. So we want to be ready for our next fight. You'll go down there. I'll hit some big things. Big thing we've accomplished this year is wildfire preparation plans for severely affected areas from Helene blowdown. That's been conducted by Brian Brewer. We've got areas that you guys well know about in the county that stand at great wildfire risk. We've pre-planned that with water points, staging locations, potential fire lines, helicopter drop points, GPS mapping of each location. That way, when that happens, not if but when, the county has a stance ready to go with that. We've also had the development and the production of the Mitchell Ready app. You guys have probably seen that everywhere. You're in here, you don't have the Mitchell Ready app, download it, okay? We wanted to be transparent to our citizens. We wanted preparedness to start at your house, not after a storm, right? So this is the brainchild, John Masters, come up with this idea. We got in contact with this company that does that, and it was relatively cheap. A way we could put emergency management planning in people's hands, okay? So we did that. And to this day, that app has had, and it's only been released 2 months, active half a year. We've had 91,228 interactions, and we've had 1,287 downloads to that. Our goal is 5,000 throughout the county. We're actively pushing that in the schools this month, since we're gonna have a wildfire safety, and a regular fire safety. Coordination with EDC for production of emergency preparedness brochures to be placed in all rentals across the county. Doesn't seem like that big of a deal until you figure out that last September 26th, we had people put their head on pillows in Mitchell County that'd never been here before. Okay, police season, we wanna make sure everybody knows where to find their information. We've established the Next 72s on You campaign, kind of preparedness thing we push throughout the county. And since the development of this paper, in the last 5 days, we've actually had 2 new projects come up. One is gonna be a wildfire support trailer. That's in coordination with Brian Brewer and Brandon Pittman from Ag Extension, to actually have assets to give to wildland firemen, this rigs, tools, PPE, chainsaws, to support wildfire response. And then, we also are getting a, mobile radio cache. That way, when we have a large multi-county, multi-organization event, we have comms for everybody to be on the same page and try to work these crazy fires safely. The next couple pages is just our training that we've completed as a department, listed individually, through there. Won't get hung up on that. Like I said, mine's shorter than everybody else's because they're the rock stars, right? So, but it's all on there. You can see all that. And then you'll get to our calls for service. So you guys may know emergency management responds with, all of our emergency services personnel in different capacities, whether that be by dispatch or by request from that. So, year to date, we're sitting right around 273 calls on the month. We've been dispatched 273 times in 9 months to assist with, and the breakdown of those call volumes and types are available on a bar graph inside of your packet, as well as the physical call sheets that we report to, in a tracking software that we piggybacked off inspections with. 273 calls, that ranges everything from illegal burns to technical rescue, structure fires, assist law with searches, assist law with SRT call outs, EMS, cardiac events, CPR in progress. We go about anywhere they'll send us. Behind that, I thought it'd be great transparency for you guys to see the assets that we have. Inside of that packet's everything that emergency management has a finger on and is responsible for, whether that's a county or a regionally owned asset. And the inventory of its contents. Like I said, we didn't know, so we wanted everybody to be transparent about what we had, as well as the items for public distribution. And you can see all that. Take that home with you, read it. I know it's a lot to look at, but like I said, transparency was our goal here. And then the last part of that whole packet is a letter that I made for Mr. Cook earlier in the year. And when I stepped into this position, asking for federal assistance for an emergency management facility. We're currently partially housed. The facility that we had right down the road here, received about 9 feet of water altogether. So all the assets we had inside there were lost. So 2 of us work out of inspections and 2 of us float, and most of the time we're out of the truck. So keep that in mind. If you get to talk to anybody, it's very important to me. Keep me in mind. It is a lot, like I said, take it home and read it, but that was pretty much a brief overview. If you guys have any questions about emergency management or our involvement in the community, I'll be more than glad to answer those for you. It's pretty broad. It's hard to hit the high spots and really get it through. So that's pretty much the whole thing.
Anybody got any questions, comments?
Thank you for the thorough update.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
I want one comment on this group. So, sitting in the EOC with them on day one, they got under their belt the experience, and they're young. And that's kind of exciting to me, because that's the future of the county right there. You know, they've been through one of the worst with Helene, and they learned a lot of what to do and a lot of what not to do all along the way. But it's as solid as a team out there. To see every one of them on that back row, I'm very proud of them and proud to work with them as the county manager. I feel really good if I have a disaster right now. I've got a team on there that's been doing the training, and I like y'all look in that book at all that training they've got. They got the education training factor, and then they've got the experience factor of being through a a Katrina style disaster, so. I'm really wanting to see these folks on here, just to be here for a long time, so that's all I got, so.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to, item D, board reports. Mr. Blevins.
Okay. Next year. First thing I attended, so that you invite, to Greenleaf Primary, I was able to attend, Grandparents' Day. Thank you, Taylor, for inviting us, even though I'm not a grandparent. I still went to represent, the commissioners. I must say that little girl took me by my hand. She took me straight through that building everybody I saw wanted to stop talking. She'd say, "Come on, let's go, come on." She was, and it was a very good turnout on that Monday. So thank you again. And Freedom Life. September 8th and today. Of course, I wasn't there today. I had a doctor's appointment in Asheville, but our ever efficient HR director, she did all the notes, and the bylaws are complete and they have been approved. For those of you that don't know what Freedom Life is in the audience, Freedom Life is for folks that are just coming out of prison, and Freedom Life helps reestablish them into society. And at no cost to Mitchell County, it's all through grants and fundings. They also have come up with brochures now for our Freedom Life in Mitchell County. There is a Freedom Life in McDowell County, a Freedom Life in Avery and in Yancey, and now there's one in Mitchell. And we hope for more progress with them. I'm gonna get y'all, you can take a seat. I've got copies of bylaws for everybody on the board and a brochure. Everybody have. Also, with Freedom Life on November 12th, there will be, they have chosen Mitchell County, Avery County for a statewide joint reentry council. And that's going to be held at, Sam Center at Baylor Community College, which is going to be a big event. That's all representatives will be coming to Mitchell County to represent this meeting. So Freedom Life is moving very well, and we're very pleased with their progress. Also, I was in the EMS peer review on September 15th. Just some facts for each of you. 859 calls from July to the end of August, and almost 2,600 calls have gone out now from January to September. Which that was about, they said was about average. We had a big discussion on the automated external defibrillators. And if you don't know what those are the boxes that are located in most public places right now, such as schools, the courthouse, public buildings, community centers, which can save a person's life immediately. And we did get to see that firsthand at one point, did we not? When they place the pads on the victim's chest, the defibrillator machine tells you everything to do, whether they need to be shocked or they don't need to be shocked or what, and until EMS can arrive, they're lifesavers. And EMS workers are working on goals with grants at this time, and they're going to put more of these defibrillators in churches, ball fields, parks, community centers, for example. And what it is, it's a box that will be outside each building. And if, say, for example, there's one outside the door at the Beulah Community Center, somebody, maybe three out or at the recycling center at Beulah is having chest pains, somebody can rush down there, get the defibrillator, bring the whole portable box with them up to the recycling center and start the procedure until EMS arrives. So these are very valuable things and, it's our EMS's goal in Mitchell County to get more of those in areas for the public to have access to. Um, and, as funds become more available, board on our next EMS peer review meeting, I will keep you informed. September 9th, Animal Shelter Board meeting. They have 3 applicants now for the new director. They haven't started interviews yet, but very pleased with the 3 applicants so far that have been submitted to the Animal Shelter Board. Some things that the animal shelter is doing right now, they're having, they had a rabies clinic at Bakersville Fire Department, and they will be having a rabies clinic at the Community Community Center on October 11th. They've also received grant money for free distemper vaccines for anybody's cats and dogs, and the animal shelter will be advertising that. Also, on September 24th, I'm now attending what is called the Business Park meeting. That is a subcommittee of the EDC board. This committee was formed for the new business park that they're looking at right now. And to give you an example of where they are right now, they are starting phase 1 of the due diligence. And in phase 1, this is where they go out and check the site for artifacts. There could be Indian burial graves out there, endangered species in waterways or poor soil quality. And if those things are there, then phase 2 will not begin. So I'm learning a lot about that. This is something new for me, but we had a very good meeting. We'll have another one next Wednesday, the 15th. So they're trying to move quickly with this. Helene Remembrances on September 26th. I attended the Bakersville Courthouse Helene Remembrance Ceremony, which was a very good, very moving ceremony. I do think we had our former chairman and our chairman made speeches, which they did very, very good jobs. Also on the 27th, remembering Helene, I attended the downtown Lower Street prayer vigil, sponsored by Monica and Jason Fritz. And at that time last year on the 27th, Lower Street was totally underwater. And we were able to sit there and listen to accounts of people and music, prayers. It was very good. Also, in the Remembering Helene, the LTRG Mountain Recovery, I must say to the boards, and I'm sure those of you that attended, Stephanie Pittman and her staff, let me put them in there as well, did a super successful job at Parkway, Ledger, and Bradshaw. Was able to attend Parkway and Ledger due to scheduling. I did not get to Bradshaw, but they were prepared, they were ready, and it was very, very good. Lots of good information for the public, and the turnouts were very, very good at all 3 fire departments. And then going back to September 19th, I had so many to go to, I forgot some of these. Attended the FEMA challenge meeting for Mitchell and Everett counties. Michael Watley entertained questions and information about the future funding from FEMA. And Mr. Watley has a direct line to President Trump, and he answers to him. So hopefully, I hope Alan's keeping his fingers crossed, I know, that these funds will start coming back from FEMA that are due to the county. So it's just a wait and see game, isn't it? September 30th, attended the Mitchell Yancey Prevention and Recovery Coalition, as for Respond Fire Department. The main discussion this time was Narcan education, the use and administration of Narcan. We are trying to get scheduled sites such as our sheriff's office, Bruce Pine Library, Building Community Center, local fire departments, and more to that let me tell each of you out here in the public that these classes will be very valuable, if you, you never know when you might have to administer to somebody that is in need. So those will come soon. And then, of course, October 2nd, attended the CSX Railroad ceremony at Irwin, Tennessee, in celebration of the opening of the Blue Ridge subdivision rail line. And that's it for me.
You're busy.
Been a busy month.
Yes, sir. I'm not as busy as you in the state.
Should have.
So Mason, we met, to discuss, we went ahead and moved forward with the Freedom Life, property lease, so you mentioned that in your.
Yes.
So we've noticed to proceed for that for Malin. We did appoint Jeff Googe as a trustee, he's the newest trustee on the board. Dr. Board did give an update on the Three Peaks Center out there with the kitchen, funding to get the kitchen complete. And he also did a budget update, and I'll just kind of read that here. Dr. Boyd presented the budget update. Final budget has not been released at this time. Dr. Boyd informed the board that there has been discussion on possible significant insurance cost increases to employees. Budget's down due to enrollment from the storm. Full-time employees are still down from the closure of the prisons. One prison has slowly started to open back up and offers minimal classes. The other prison's still closed. Budget's down $1.5 million from one-time money. The curriculum for full-time employees grew this year by 6.7%. FTE dropped 13%, and basic skills, full-time employees dropped 13.8%. So that's expected to be a $32,000 return to the college. That was the biggest thing from Malin's side. So they're still struggling with enrollment to get back without having those prisons being fully opened up there. It's definitely had an impact on the college. Via, we haven't met. Main Street, Spencer gave a update from the Hellbender Festival. It's really successful. We had the barbecue festival this past weekend. I hadn't heard anything on the barbecue festival. And JCPC, I was looking back through my notes. Because I know you're a very smart lady and you help me out with where I can't find my notes of what we
will be meeting there, the committee, which anybody's welcome to, will be meeting next week to, analyze the data and make recommendations for the RFP.
That's the gassy meeting, right?
Yes, we'll go
Gotcha.
over all that data.
Gotcha.
And there is a small group of dedicated people who we are all indebted to, who will get together and do it, because it's not.
That's fine. Thank you for that. Great.
Had a meeting for each one of the committees I serve on since our last commissioner meeting. At the chamber meeting, we discussed or approved the development of a new 501c3 nonprofit arm of the chamber. They held 2 ribbon cuttings last week, one for Spruce Bind and also the reopening of Tri-County Builders. And there is a prayer breakfast, a prayer business breakfast that'll be held Friday, October 10th at Grass Creek Golf Course. The fire department, Jeff and I attended the Fire Association department last week, and they really emphasized the excitement they had about having Landon Googe as the new EMS person, and let everybody know they're working diligently for getting ready for fall fire season. We had a rec department meeting and, Brock up and Ryan updated us on the, status. I think the next couple of weeks, the fall sports will wind down. They've had a good season and they gave us, an update on, policies and procedures, that are being implemented. EDC, the courts corp, at the EDC meeting, the courts corp gave us an update on their sustainability plan and implementation, which will take about 12 to 18 months. And also at that meeting, the North Carolina, one of the North Carolina DOT engineers, his name was Tim Anderson, gave an update on Cox's Creek. The EDC continues to discuss that area, that road with, the DOT, and we'll have more to update on the community on this, the county on this in the public in the future. And then Scott Elliott with North Carolina Grove gave an update on the Blue Ridge Parkway and they have moved the opening for our area from up to fall of 2026, hopefully, is the new opening date that they have scheduled. That's all I have.
Thank you, Lee. Ms. Harley?
We'll start out with the TDA. The TDA is making great strides in the Destination by Design Community Action Plan. It's called Elevate Mitchell. If you haven't filled out the survey, I encourage you to go ahead and do so. You can find it online. They should be done with the new branding strategy, late winter, early spring. And the branding team was just here this past week and they were given a tour from Little Switzerland to Spruce Pine to Bakersville, all the way to the beauty spot. So they covered the entire county, which was really good. And then there's been a few questions from the public on where the TDA has recently spent advertising. And so some of those include South Park Magazine, the Way Magazine, numerous ads with Blue Ridge Outdoors, Visit NC, App State, NC Birding Guide, NC Cycle Guide, and there will be a new digital ad for fall and holiday tourism coming out soon. So I think that is my brief update for TDA. As far as extension, we did have an advisory board meeting and we talked a little bit about the Ag Summit, which is November the 1st. Brandon and his team are working with another group on a post-Helene water quality research result. And so if anybody wants to attend that meeting, it will be November the 20th, and that is at Omen at 6 p.m. They are also going to be participating in an Ag Day, which is organized by some teachers at Googe on November the 7th. So if anybody wants to go and help them, there are volunteer opportunities there. And I
What was the
believe
one before that? You said it was at
the water
6 p.m.?
quality, that is November the 20th at 6 p.m. at Bowman. And so I know this week there has been some discussion with emergency management to create a livestock strike team for evacuation. So if you have a truck and you're good at driving a trailer, please volunteer so that if we have people that have livestock in there to fire, we can get them evacuated. Let's see here. Brief update for 4-H. Robotic program is now in the middle school and kids seem to be very much enjoying that. And there were multiple entries into the Mountain State Fair. And embryology hatched 112 eggs out of 144, and that consisted of 10 classrooms. And then 8 students also completed the chick to chicken program. And then FNAP is working with some families at the Sunshine Hill Apartments, and they're talking about doing a program about Eat Smart and Move More. And they are also having a parent meeting at Head Start, and 8th grade CTE team cuisine. It's also something that they spoke about at our meeting. Let's see here. I was also asked to serve on the Board of Trustees for the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners again this year, so accepted my position to that, as well as being reappointed to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Risk Management Board of Trustees. And so just a little bit about President Wallace Nelson's presidential initiative. It is NC Cares and it is Access Within Reach. And I don't know if you guys know him or not, but he's a pharmacist, and his initiative is going to be focusing on improving access to healthcare services across North Carolina, but with a particular attention to detail in the needs of rural and underserved communities. So I'm gonna go let you guys know about that. And then, I won't recap all of the stuff that Dale mentioned that we all attended. But I did receive an email from a young lady that I told her I would share with you guys today, and it seemed very fitting in the DSS meeting when we were talking about Medicaid cuts. And so this is from Miss Autumn, and she runs the Mount Opportunity Center there across from my shop in Bakersville. And so her email goes, to those it may concern, I'm writing to you for your help in a situation that is very important to me. Due to Medicaid budget cuts, it is affecting many people of the intellectual and developmental disabilities community. It is causing 3 to 10% budget cuts for those that she serves. This may not seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a lot for them. She has worked with Blue West Opportunities for almost 8 years now as a direct support professional. When she first started with the company, in 2022, she started out, being the vocational program coordinator for the Mount Opportunity Center. She says she takes her job serious and she loves those that she serves and she works with. But is already she's very concerned because it's already affecting so many different aspects of their daily life in the IDD community. These budget cuts not only affect their daily living of benefits, but also cuts are being made to their group home and also their day support programs. In Mitchell County, we have a day program for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also have a thrift store in Bakersville. With these budget cuts to keep things afloat, we're potentially forced to have to sell their thrift store. It is a pillar of the community, and most importantly, it offers the clients a way to interact with the public. Of course, she would much rather see the store be sold than the day program being affected, but she has asked for me to read this to you guys, and if there's any support that we can help in this process, that we do so. So if you want a copy of her email in its entirety, I will be more than glad to provide it to you. But out of all of my reports, this is the one that I wanted to bring up because I think it's the most important because, you know, those people can't advocate for themselves, and I just felt led to let you guys have those discussions tonight. So that's all I got, Jeff.
Thank you. I'm not gonna go through all of mine because we'll be here all night. I've been to 18, like everybody else here, I've been to 18 meetings or events in a month. Two that I really want to point out, went to Baptist on a Mission, it's ribbon cutting at, Dayton Primary School. And if you've not been there to visit that, it's a very impressive facility. It's very organized, they have full-time staff. They can house and feed 150 people at one time that come in here to volunteer. They're committed to this community for at least 5 years, 100%, if not. You know, they're gonna be here as long as need be. And, it was, I guess to say the least, it was an emotional day. Because you heard some people's testimony, what they had been through, a Mitchell County resident that their house was, lost everything inside. And the clean out process, and if it hadn't been for those Baptists on a Mission coming to assist. And she talked how gut wrenching it was to stand on her front porch and look at everything that she owned that was ruined in the front yard. So that was a very eye-opening experience to, you know, we were all affected, but we were all not affected before we had lawsuits. And then High Country Council of Government put this out. Since the federal shutdown has taken place, that affects your senior citizen centers. So High Country Council of Government from October 1st to October 10th, that's a 10-day period, has committed $100,000 to keep those senior citizen centers open and running and fully functional for 10 days. So, you know, I just wanted to point that out. And then, as Dale mentioned, the ceremony at the courthouse, Friday the 26th. I thought she did an excellent job. with your presentation and what you said. You know, it came from the heart, what you've been through. It was, that was also an emotional day. That even though you don't want to maybe look back, I think everybody in this room has got at least one memory, or two memories, or three memories. When the storm hit, if you'll take that to your grave with you. And like 9/11, when it happened, seemed like we forgot shortly thereafter. And you know, what happened with this storm, you know, I hope people don't forget. You know, and forget us, we've come a long way, guys. Community has come a very long way. And the resilience of the people and the volunteers that have been here, but you know, we got a few more days to go. To get through this thing. We got a few more years to go. To get back to it, so. That is the short and sweet of my board report. So we'll move on to items of discussion. We'll go to 10A, that's an application for property tax exemption or exclusion. It's in your packet. How would you like to touch base on that for a moment? Feel free.
Just a quick note, so, we had basically, exemption and needs to go to the board for a vote. The short and long of it was, you know, just kind of got mixed up. She was Rosemary Ward was taxed for a single wide that was placed on John King's property. John King came in and told the county to bill Miss Ward. After she received the bill, it became known that High Country Caregivers had purchased the home for Miss Ward and her three grandchildren's. Statutes require AV-10s to be filed in the month of January, so this is considered late application that must have approval or denied by the commission. So basically, we just need the board to vote to approve or deny. I being that this Rosemary had a mix-up between the properties and was a disaster survivor, and High Country Caregivers had purchased the house, and kind of muddied everything in that process as to who needs to do what. So I'll leave it at that. It does need the board to vote to approve or deny the late application.
Mr. Chairman, a vote to approve does require a finding of good cause for the late filing by the board.
Okay, do I have a motion for property tax exemption for this board? Or do you think?
So that, I mean, in my mind, this is line for college, right? We were just intending for the college for the.
Yes, sir. So the application would qualify for an exemption had it been timely filed, is my understanding. So this board to approve the late filing requires you to find that there was good cause in the delay by the property owner and not getting it filed timely. So that's the standard we'll need to include in the minutes, and that's a discretionary finding by this board as to what constitutes good cause.
Do you know what the lawyer's type was on this?
It's actually Stacy. Stacy felt like that the board should move this and it's good cause is what she expressed to me.
Any more questions or discussion? Okay, do I have a motion?
Sorry, I do have a question, sorry. So they're saying that this is the house, this was not one of our CBDG. Okay, it's something different. Okay, I just wanted to get clarity because. No, I had a follow-up question, but never mind. Thank you.
Yeah, single wide and High Country Caregivers, so not a CDBG.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion from the board.
Make a motion to grant the exemption for this property.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? None opposed? Okay, the next item on the list is request of support for property transfer to the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yes.
Mr. Cook.
I'll talk to this, and I've got the gentleman here as a point of contact in the audience today. So basically, for Park Service, for the National Park Service's potential acquisition of 67 acres, it has to go to the board for approval along the way for a letter of support. So the landowner has, expressed the desire to move this land into a conservation easement. And if you want to speak to that a little better than I can, I would be glad to get you to add in on that.
Yeah, we actually purchased the land, fee simple, from the owners, willing landowners who wanted to sell the land to us. So it could be included in part of the Blue Ridge Parkway right here, mile post 332, just outside of town. Here, Gillespie Gap. It's a family property that hasn't been logged in around 90 years, as far as we can tell. And the family's wishes for it to be conserved as part of the Blue Ridge Parkway in Mitchell County. But for us to do that transaction, at this point in time, we need a letter of support at the county level. Showing, in good faith that, we are able to do this transaction with the National Park Service. It will then go to the state for a similar little letter from the government. I have brought a few packets here that have a project summary of the 68 acres in Grassy Creek Township, along with an example of what the letter of support might look like. It comes from the Parkway Superintendent, and it is sent to the county representative, presumably County Manager Cook, to be signed by anyone with authority at the county level to show support for this project.
So basically, if you all saw fit to move this forward, you would vote to move it forward with me having the option to sign on behalf of the board the letter of support.
It's already out of the tax base because it's in conservation, correct?
So yeah, well, that is a good point, Harley. So when this goes into that, it's out of the tax base. When it went already from the fee simple transaction into that, I would think that it's moved out of the tax base, but could you confirm that?
Sure, yeah, it will be moved out of the county tax base, which is the rationale behind the letter of support for the current administration. We currently own the land as a nonprofit and have filed a new intent as well. With the intention of having these land to the Park Service, as we've done many times throughout the last 25 years, I think. It's just a new procedure that's been implemented by the current administration to give counties more of a say in what they choose to do with land on the tax roll.
Anything else? Arnold Lee?
Hey, it's beautiful. Beautiful preserve land. It's it, the whole area up there is untouched. And I appreciate y'all wanting to preserve it. Because it runs right along the back, up along Blue Ridge Parkway. It's very pristine land.
Y'all entertain a motion for support of property transfer to the Blue Ridge Parkway.
And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Harley, all in favor? Okay, it passes. Mitchell County NCDOT express design request and
Yes, sir. So Dale and I were driving around with our DOT High Country representative, and we had a conversation about the congestion near the middle school. So approximately from around Ace Hardware up to maybe a couple hundred yards past the middle school, the DOT is wanting to do a study, and that's one of the first steps into getting it widened through there, is to get this study done. So we want to make a NC DOT express design request, because the way these processes move is you got to get your studies in place, you got to show the evidence, and then you make the ask. So this is step one, is getting this design request done. It will definitely help with traffic congestion. If any of y'all know, during the school morning drive, it is backed all the way up towards Ace Hardware, and, you know, it'll make that a little more safe for our students as well. So, that would be something that we just need the support of the board to move forward with the Mitchell County NCDOT Express design request.
You know how many accidents we've had? Is that not communications good for?
We pull that, yep.
Because I feel like there's been a fairly number.
One every 2 weeks, especially in the afternoons.
Yeah,
Because we're right in the thick of that, when we're dismissing and, they dismiss the high school drivers first to get them out of the way. Then they do the buses and the parents. And at least, Harvey, I can kind of answer that, but you get a better from EMS, or from communications, but there's at least a fender bender, nothing really major, at least once or twice a month. And it usually happens right there at that intersection. That's where most of it happens. Either beyond it or before it coming out of Ledger School Road, or it's just people being in a hurry, not to catch the line.
that's silly.
Yeah.
But I'll make a motion that we move forward with the express design request.
Thank you. All in favor? Bowen Housing RFP.
Chair, I will speak to that one as well. So, pre-Helene, we had gotten approval from the Dogwood Trust to do a housing study in Mitchell County. And this basically is housing study and a CIP, which was basically where we mapped out the water sewer. So we got approximately $350,000 awarded to the county to do the housing study. And so I put in a request for proposals on the housing study and one on the CIP. And was able to get about 5 bids back that looked to be qualified bids. And of course, we scored those out. And on the basis of the scores, Bowen scored highest because they had done work in Hampton and Avery, and we can kind of build our housing studies and kind of mesh them in a little bit together. And the pricing was all within the reasonable area as well. So I would need the board's approval to accept the Bowen Housing RFP pending legal review.
Did that grant cover then, the study in its entirety?
Yes, the grant will, this study, I think, is somewhere around I won't say less than 100,000, but forget 90 to 100,000. There's a few, I think there's a few things we can add. Well, it might even been 39, actually. I was getting it mixed up with the CIP, so it could have been. So we can add a few extra things into this, but I've not, the meeting that I was supposed to have as a kickoff meeting, the gentleman's brother was in a bad health condition and we had to delay it. So, we're looking at on that, looking on getting this one moving. And then I'm waiting for the CIP on the water sewer infrastructure mapping, which will also help Bakersville and Spruce Pine look at areas for potential growth.
Any more questions? Discussion? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Dale. Need a second. Thank you, Steve. All in favor? Good. Thank you, guys. Next on the list is County of Mitchell Community Disaster Loan. Let's make.
This is a loan that we've been talking about for several months now. So we're now to the stage that the loan was officially approved. We were actually the second application to get approved in Western North Carolina from the Helene storm. First one got signed in August, and so we're the second one getting signed. If you approve this tonight, we will forward this paperwork once Alan signs all the documents, and we record it. This has to be recorded in the Register of Deeds because we are pledging revenues to repay this loan if that expecting what happens with this. It's a line of credit, if you remember, and we don't have to draw down on it right away, so we can get the loan approved, get the signatures on it. It goes from us to the governor's office, they sign it, then it goes to the Western Area FEMA, they're gonna sign off on it, and then it goes to Washington. And I understand that, Ms. Nome will sign off on it, and then they will let me know once all the paperwork has been done. And they will send me instructions on how to draw down on this line of credit if we so choose to. And of course, this one is, we'll look at it at about 3 years and look and see where our revenues are. But we have 5 years to, apply for the forgiveness. Board, do you have anything to say after you reviewed it?
Yes, ma'am.
You're nodding your head, so.
Normally, there are restrictions on pledging our general fund tax and authority and revenue. So my first reaction was, wait, we can't do this. In looking at the statute, there is a specific statute that allows loans from federal or state government to be approved by the Board of Commissioners without taking additional steps. So the paperwork would be in order if you choose to proceed with this, and it's squared away to essentially be a $5 million loan that you could use for funding operations, paying any bills we've incurred, or however you wish to use that related to FEMA. It cannot supplement your normal operating costs, but it can be used for disaster related items.
Cannot be used for capital.
Correct, cannot be used for
That was a
build a
big-
new building.
Yeah, so we wanna make sure that we stay within the guidelines that. So,
It has a lot of guardrails and a lot of financial accounting for your finance department, but it is a $5 million loan from the federal government.
Is this a 0% fund or 0%?
it is not, it's the treasury rate, and the last time we talked to them on the 19th of September, I can't remember, it was 3 point, a little bit was the
We've
interest
in the
rate.
3, yeah, a little over 3, I think.
Yeah, like
3 and change.
3.49 or something. That rate will get set when we draw on it. It's not set at this point, but it will be set at some point.
And you pay no money until you use it.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
We may choose never to use it, Jeff. Al and I talked a little bit about a strategy with this particular loan and the fact that we may wait till actually 2028 to make that decision unless we're, we have no choice but to use it. Because by then you're going to see if you're in that forgivable window, if you would qualify for the forgiveness. And then at that point, we could draw on it knowing that we have a good chance of it being forgiven. And if it's forgiven, then we'll forgive the principal and the interest.
And just another point to it is, we have it, it's ready. Let's say we get a bad disaster
Right.
next year. We
Right.
get something crazy.
Get a bad
Pull-
storm this winter or
Yeah, we
something.
can pull the trigger on this to get our folks out of the jam.
Right, because right now until this disaster and this FEMA's closed out, your cash flow is gonna be very limited, so this is kind of like a safeguard if we were to need it. Hopefully we won't, but it's there if we do. And this takes 6 to 9 months to get approved, so you don't wanna wait, you can't wait for the last minute. I've been working on this a long time.
And I think another point is if we were to draw off of it, it would go to the board to,
Oh, we will
That's
definitely, if we were to
something
ever
another
draw, I will have to do a request. And you guys would know at what time we decide. That's gonna be a collaborative decision because
Yeah.
that's not something one person can make that decision. We would look at it. Definitely, and you don't have to draw it all. You could draw part of it at 1 year and draw some more later year. You don't have to do it all at one time. if you don't want to.
If, Mr. Chair, I would add, if you do draw this amount and it is converted into a grant and forgiven, county's that much better off in the long run.
Well, I always said I would definitely not feel well if I didn't try to go for it and get it. And then come to find out it would have been forgiven, you know. That's a pretty good sized paycheck.
Mavis, what are we, what's the federal government on us right now?
Okay. Right now, we're probably setting somewhere between 17.5 and 20 million. Depends on how some of these smaller projects play out. Right now, I'm waiting on, right now, sitting at the state, waiting to be paid to us, which I should get any day, because it's already in the finance office at the state for the checks to be cut. I'm waiting on about $200,000 that'll come in the next week or two. But the rest of it's still sitting in the FEMA queue, so it's gonna take a while for that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on the,
You need to approve this,
yes,
right?
on the
Yeah,
disaster
okay.
loan from you guys? I'll entertain a motion to approve the County of Mitchell Communities disaster loan.
So moved.
Thank you, Harley. Second. Thank you, Steve. All in favor? And the last thing for items for discussion is F Recreation Department policy. I am going to turn this over to our attorney, Mr. Foreggers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The General Assembly has passed a statute that will, beginning at the 1st of October, require background checks for all individuals who work for counties and cities who work with children, to have a background check that has been conducted by the SBI as opposed to alternative options for background checks. The other item in reviewing this with staff was to get in place a robust abuse prevention and background check policy, which is what you have before you. Most notably, that would include the adoption of the Safe Sport protocol and guidelines that have been promulgated through that organization. By way of background, Safe Sport is a congressionally chartered nonprofit that oversees the United States Olympic and Paralympic movements. Now, you may ask, why are we adopting background policies for Olympic and Paralympic movements for rec department policies? Which is a fair question. And the reason for that would be those policies are considered the gold standard for youth sports programs. They have been developed by nationally recognized psychologists and psychiatrists to identify items that are potential risk for abuse, and also to have training programs to help folks identify potential markers that might indicate abuse. That program requires that any individual who's going to be participating as a coach or assisting with interacting with youth in that sort of mentor supervisory capacity would be required to undergo a 90-minute training session that's conducted through Safe Sport, and also a 30-minute annual review. They also do their own background lists and also have a process and a list of disqualified individuals. So those would be individuals who, if they're on the disqualified list, would not be available or would not be eligible, rather, to participate in youth sports and youth recreation items. So it's very comprehensive and covers all kinds of facets of the potential for abuse and the relationship. It has policies that deal with transportation of minors to and from events and how that's to be done, communication with minors, incorporating their parents into that process. And it is considered to be a gold standard kind of process. It's my understanding our rec department employees have already completed the initial training through the Safe Sport program, and we'd be phasing that in through this process. But it is a comprehensive program that was, again, established as part of the United States Olympic movement to safeguard their athletes. And the recommendation before you today is to extend that as a local affiliate organization to our rec league department. This is not saying that Mitchell athletes are Olympians or not Olympians in any way. It's an optional thing that we can opt into, and it is considered to be one of the more robust programs, and probably the most robust program in the nation, as it has congressional funding and support. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. I know I've provided Commissioner with the complete set of their policy guidelines as they have adopted, as well as a copy of the manual for implementation that our rec department would be using to implement the policies.
Dale. Any questions? No.
Do have a couple of questions as I read through the policy.
Okay.
So on the first page 4, where it says, 1, 2, 3, the 5th whereas, down there where it says Mitchell County may further choose to conduct background checks on current employees. And this is just my lack of knowledge on how background checks work, but, they do have to sign something authorizing that background check, huh?
Yes, that's correct. So each person to be eligible to participate would be required to sign a consent to that background check.
Okay.
The results of those background checks are confidential under the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act, as well as state law. That does remain confidential, but we've although it is optional that we may do that on folks retroactively, Mr. Cook and Ms. Shuffler have elected to conduct those on the current employees. Even though it's discretionary, we figure if we're going to adopt a gold standard program, we need to take a gold standard implementation.
And this was specifically for the recreation department, so there was a little wordage in here that I was a little confused about, but will this also be updated in our personnel policy? So will that enact a revision in our personnel policy?
So Safe Sport only covers recreational activities. The background check policy, as required by state statute, is going to require any new hires that have interaction with youth to have a background check. That would include, obviously, the Department of Human Services in that process. I've not discussed with our HR department or our county manager whether we would go ahead and do that as a retroactive background check for DSS. My understanding is DSS, in order to be eligible for employment, has to pass a background check for their initial hiring, and also has to maintain eligibility for that. So that might be redundant if we do that.
Questions 3 and 4 are along the same lines, that are on page 4 of the policy 4. That I'm assuming, but I just want to make sure, that the dates listed in that policy, July 1st and January the 1st, are not backdated items. That was just the last revision of Safe Sport, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Okay.
correct. Those are the most current versions that will be adopted, and certainly this policy can be adopted to reflect their future adoptions, but wanted to give our staff objective and verifiable standards that they're expected to follow.
So my next question was also on that same page. When will the training have to be completed for all of the people that are gonna be coaching when we open the rec center? Like, is that October 1st? Is that date, that timeline?
So the plan would be, as new programs are offered and presented, for that to be required. As I said, I think all employees have completed that. So as we have coaches that will come online, the expectation will be that will be phased in as we enter into the next season of sports.
Okay, and then I'm assuming, does that fall back on Linda to make sure that people have done their training?
Ms.
What are the-
Scheffler is the custodian of records as far as
documents.
background checks and things. I'll defer to her if I've misspoken on any of
No,
those.
you're correct.
And
All
then who-
documentation will be stored with HR.
So then whose job is it to make sure that that list of coaches gets to Ms. Shuffler so she can consolidate all the things?
That would be the responsibility of the rec department director to get her the appropriate information.
Let's see here. Seven is on the next page. I did have one question concerned, on the last page, question number 7 was, from the time said individual is required to report this to the director, what is that time frame that then the director needs to disclose that information with county manager and HR so that said information can go into the folder packet?
Are you referring to number 14?
15 specifically.
Alright. So that ties back into number 14, which is if someone is charged, they have a duty that they have to report that affirmatively to both the rec department director and to the human resources department. They also, as that case progresses, have to report any change in that status, including if they are convicted of that charge.
Okay.
That has to be done within a reasonable period of time. I will have to go back through and look at the safe sport regulations, but they have timeline requirements, and those are different based upon the severity of what that charge is.
Okay.
So some of them have an almost immediate reporting, others, I think it's within 72 hours.
I did read the whole safe sport policy, but I'm having a hard time drawing a number on all like 300 pages of that.
Yes, ma'am.
So, let's see, there was another question, let's see, further down. Where it says, the county manager in conjunction with the the department head or human resource director, could we change or to sorry. Could we change or and replace it with the word and so that?
Yes, so that deals with essentially what is the review process for these records and any convictions. So that would be the county. If there is the need to review those, would be the county manager in conjunction with the department head and the human resources director is how you'd like that.
I mean, it's discussion with the board.
Okay,
Um,
and that would be appropriate if that's the decision of the board.
yes. So. I don't know if anybody has any feelings on anything.
Are you saying the county commissioners?
No, nothing to
Should
do
be
with
involved.
commissioners.
Basically,
If you go to the last page, Jeff, halfway down, it says the county manager in
Yeah.
conjunction with the department head or
Yeah.
human resources. I would like Brenda to also be part of that since she's gonna be the holder of documents and all the knowledge of,
doing things ordained.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Just so that she's also
Three
included,
of
so it's an odd number of people, that would be privy to that.
So you have to read in conjunction there, right?
So,
Then you've got the holder of the gold. Here, that needs to, or she's got the key, so she needs to be involved.
yeah, I mean, you'll be involved anyway, that might as
Yeah.
well be on the front end.
This will be on this.
And then, so if we vote on this tonight, when will these policies be implemented? As far as just like moving forward, because I don't know anything about sports stuff, I don't know when the next sports session is.
So these policies would be effective upon passage unless you set a later date that you wish to become effective. I'll defer to someone else as to the date that the current season wraps up and the next season begins, because
How do you know this, or would we,
You know, I think
would you
go ahead,
coaches?
you're on the board, probably. This, if it doesn't wrap up this weekend, it's the following weekend. I think they may have a playoff weekend or something. I'm sorry.
It'll wrap up the 18th.
18th.
And basketball will start.
Usually forms go out week of the 20th, towards the end.
So in order to get basketball season in, guys, this policy needs to be voted and approved tonight. So this can go out to all coaches
Mhm.
that want to serve for the pre-Christmas season.
And then are you also working on the, or a, MOU policy? For, if other people use the facilities?
I don't believe I have that on my
List.
current list, but we can certainly do that.
Like facility use policy related to
Yes.
rec.
I think we had talked about that briefly.
Yeah.
And it, revolved around travel team participation.
Yes,
And this policy applies to any Mitchell County property that's being used, and all procedures would follow the same thing.
I just know that was one of your concerns,
Yeah.
Jeff, so.
Well, you know, if we're gonna implement this, and then it's gonna be Mitchell County property, facilities, whatever you wanna call it. It's being used, and number one, they've got to get permission, number two, they've got to have a schedule, number three, they gotta follow these policies. That's just my opinion.
And just for clarity, the requirements are for all employees, coaches, assistant coaches, and volunteers who work with minors. So if you're out on the field and you're interacting with them working with them, that kid gets injured and you run out on the field to help that child, that's different. But if you wanna be in the huddle and you wanna be around, you gotta do this.
correct. This isn't a requirement of parents who just want to attend, watch the games, or watch their
You're
children
sitting in the
practice
bleachers.
from the bleachers.
Yeah.
But if you can't help yourself and have to be out on the field, there's a 90-minute course waiting for you as well as a background check.
And then the only other question that I had was, based on the current advisory board policy, there seems to be some stuff that doesn't match what's in this policy you put forth tonight. Is that something that we can put on a future agenda to make sure they all match up? And there's no loopholes or?
Yes, you can certainly review your recreation advisory board policies as to how that board operates. As far as these policies, certainly the rec board could adopt them themselves. However, this board, as the governing board for the county, can implement these policies as a directive to the recreation department, which that board would need to provide it as well.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Anybody else? Okay, I need a motion to adopt the recreation department policy.
With said changes that we presented,
With
the verbiage,
said change.
yes.
Make a motion.
Second,
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Harley. All in favor? Okay, look at your consent agenda. I need a motion to accept the consent agenda, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Dale. Need a second? Second. All in favor? And we have anybody signed up for public comment? Okay, we have nobody signed up for public comment. Finance office.
I'll just do a couple of bullet points. We already talked about FEMA just a little bit, so I won't go back into the FEMA. I did put the first quarter reports in your mailboxes. Actually, the departments were all holding pretty much right on. Overall, all the departments are setting at about 25%. Expenditures, which is where we should be. Revenues are still a little bit behind, but that's because tax bills were late going out, but we're gonna, I think, catch those up pretty shortly. As we're tracking just a little bit, we're at like 14.5% collections versus about 22 last year at this time, but that's because the bills went out a month later, so that makes the difference. We'll talk a little bit about sales tax. I got the preliminary for August last week, which is holding its own. we're not at this point seeing any downward dips or losses there, and in fact, this August was about $27,000 ahead of last August. So I'm watching that really closely and it's doing really well. We're not seeing any dips there. The TDA audit is complete. It has been submitted to the LGC. That is going to be presented to the TDA board on their October 21st meeting. So that is done. Our audit is almost complete. We will have it completed and submitted with nothing crazy happens before the end of October. I will tell you that the LGC did give a 2-month reprise on the audits for people that were in the Helene district. So we don't have to have ours in till December 1st, but we are choosing to get ours in on time, which is October 31st. So once that gets sent to LGC, I will schedule her to come present that audit to the board. I think that's all I have. Anybody have any questions? Alan, did I miss anything you wanted me to touch on?
What, you've been very busy between, community disaster loans and EMS and,
Yeah, we got a little
daily
training today on here.
departmental. Yeah,
We learned a lot of new acronyms we didn't know we knew, did we?
I know, we were. We learned a lot.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, ladies.
Uh-huh.
County manager.
So, first off, with the federal government shut down, the only FEMA money that will move are Cat A and Cat B, basically emergency type stuff. Cat C through G is basically on a standstill till the government gets going, and our debris is 13.2 million, approximately thereabouts, and we're trying to move forward with that. That is a Cat A expense, so maybe we can get debris still yet, even though the government's shut down, which leads me into debris. So, yeah, the world I've lived in, and I'm gonna be so glad whenever all the streets are cleaned up and the waterways are cleaned up and I don't have to talk about debris. And we don't get any ice storms or fires or snowstorms or whatever that makes more debris. But right-of-way debris is ongoing. Now, remember, there is a website off the Mitchell County government webpage, Helene Resources, ROW, right-of-way. If you have debris or your family members or someone has debris near the state road or near a private road that has mailboxes along the private road, and it's within 20 foot, go ahead and put that on. They're trying to wrap up around the month of October. It may go a little bit longer. But on this roadside debris, we're getting near the end, so make sure we share that with our folks. We're also, I was told that hopefully in the month of October, that silt sedimentation debris could be getting moved out of Cave Creek here, and we're also wanting to work towards getting some out of Grassy Creek too, because that threatens a lot of infrastructure. Spoke with Ralph Heiss today, and he said that within the Grow NC group, that waterway debris is starting to be brought up. That silt sedimentation that we've been talking about is getting brought up among other counties just besides Mitchell County. So we're starting to see, I think, that catch on when they look at their creeks and they say, well, this creek bottom's filled up 3 foot shallower. Now we're going to flood on a 2-inch rain rather than a 6-inch rain. So we're working on that. Projects, got a lot of projects going on right now. We're, as you heard in the discussion from presentation from EM, we are without an EM base. And we're looking this month, we hope that some CDBG infrastructure money might come out and allow us to have an angle on that. So we're trying to scope some on that. We're also, looking at trying to get funding for an ag extension office in Bowman. Our tobacco trust grant is out. We didn't qualify this round. I think, the project, they wanted other funds to go along with them, so we're gonna have to go and bat again on that. We're also looking at trying to put, now that the county is taking over EMS, one of our goals is to search for a north end EMS base, small base, and I'm in talks to maybe find some north end land and make a request. So trying to look at that, cut those call times down. Speaking of EMS, we've been working real hard on trying to get that project going under the county with a hopeful start date of December 1st. In this week, there will be, you'll start seeing some job postings coming up a little later in the week. So the county is getting ready to take this over and we're wanting to build it better. Things like lift, apparatus on the trucks to lift the patients in. I remember Mark way back when, brought that to my attention, and things that will make our workers be able to serve our communities better is what we're gonna try to build into this program. We had hired Landon Googe as the director, and he is in the build mode. He is going into all the EMS systems. And he's having to put in all the information that builds the billing and builds all the reimbursements and builds all the state requirements. So we've got that poor fellow baptized in fire right now, jumping in on it, but he's doing a great job. And I'll say these county employees, we got all of them are doing a great job. They've been working in the midst of the storm for the last year. It's 1 year anniversary. And we got the county folks, I'm very proud of them. They're a proud group to work for, and like I say, I work for them.
Ask you a question on land and stuff there. Does he, I know there's groups, third party type groups that help get that rolling. Is that understanding? So he's just doing it by himself right now?
No, we're working with a third party. We got a third party builder Colleton, and who was the group we had this morning? ESO, so they're bringing tutorials in with us.
Okay.
And then they're like going over his work and saying, you need to enter something here. And
It seemed like that's a big.
he's getting walked through it.
Good.
Yeah, but he's got a lot on him on that. It's a big lift on there. But, like I said, on, projects, we got a lot of those going on. We have some field lighting out there on the field, so we're gonna start seeing that maybe move forward. We're always looking at budgets, trying to make sure we're running on budget. And we're always fishing for grants, so, that's gonna be the world we live in for a little while, and, we're always trying to get a yes out of FEMA, but it ends up being a no all too often, and we do a lot of work to get to the no. It's very frustrating. Our citizens, CDBGDR, is through Renew NC. If your house has been badly damaged or damaged, there's a lot of funding out there for that. We have scheduled a town hall for the 23rd of October. Go check our website for an exact date at 5:30. And I'm gonna have for this housing rebuild, the Renew NC folks are coming in on that. And they're gonna have a talk on that. We're also gonna talk some debris. We're gonna talk about where we're at in the process. You know, we're a little bit over a year and a month out, so those town halls, I like to keep them going, even though we're a little bit farther away from the storm. We like to try to do one, you know, at least one a quarter now, and so we'll have that going on here in October. Been a lot of meetings. As the commission board said, we've been very busy, and we've seen a lot of good work, and you know, we have some memorial services, and we revisit all those craziness we've had. And like I said, everybody around here, not just my county folks, I work with those, but every one of our citizens has been through a lot in the last year, and it's just time to take a break and pat yourself on the back. You've been through more than most folks go through in a lifetime in this year. That'll conclude my county manager report. If anybody's got any questions.
What you said today was on that town hall.
I think that's the
Third.
23rd, yeah, I think that's Tuesday. Is that Tuesday? Thursday, that sounds right, Thursday. I think that's
At
correct.
what time?
At 5:30 at Bowman Auditorium. My computer wasn't working, so I had to print everything out, so I would be able to tell you that quickly.
Board comments. Ms. Masters,
I don't think I have any right now.
Mr. Ellis.
I don't have any.
Bo? Steve?
I'd just say, I'd like to say that, you know, a lot of stuff been going on here past month, in Mitchell County, and, you know, a lot of people's been hurt, a lot of people. It breaks my heart for what this county's went through. You know, we're extremely lucky to have, a good, man in Brock and Ryan and the work that they're doing there at the rec department. And you know, I appreciate those guys. And, you know, my prayers are for every family that's involved with all this stuff. I just, you know, it breaks my heart to, see what all these families went through, everybody. And you know, I think tonight we made a very good step in, you know, doing the right thing. So, that's what I'd say.
Well said.
Didn't say it there. Yeah. We've been through hell for a year. 14,000 plus. We're making progress and working hard. And stuff happens. I'm like Steve, I support this agency and these men and these workers have done. My heart breaks on a daily basis when I think about the other people that were involved. It's a tragedy. What I would say is it's time to heal. It's time to move on. And try to be one community again. Tragedy, heartache on everybody involved. You know, it's not just about those two individuals, it's about their families. Who read it, live it, cry about it. Not the victim. That I don't know what to say about that. I pray that God helps. And that would be my board comment. So it is now time to go into closed session. Before we go into closed session, we'll reveal a few things. We're gonna do it differently. This board, along with HR, clerk to the board, and attorney, will move down the hall to the EDC room. Everybody that wants to stay through the closed session until the meeting is adjourned, you are welcome to. You will stay in this room. We ask that no loitering take place going down the hall. We ask law enforcement to stop you if you go down the hall past the bathrooms. And ask you to come back to this room. And anybody that doesn't want to stay, you're welcome to leave. We have exit here, but it has steps. We have the exit down the hall, which is handicap accessible and everything is left. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to go into closed session of General Statute 143, 31811, A3, attorney-client, A4, real estate, and I'll put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Well, I made a motion. I'm sorry, I'll make the motion. Second. I did say that.
Second.
All in favor?